now for my improv musical version. Ready?
I'm ready.
Okay. Upstream from the mainstream, there's the Acoustic Alternatives. John Bomarito's show that shows you what's coming years from now. The tributaries that will find their way into other people's music years from now. But you get it sooner, because we go up where the water's fresh, into the tributaries where the music is just springing fresh from the sources. So, welcome to it. You deserve it. Here it is. You found the source. The Acoustic Alternative, John Bomarito's Acoustic Alternatives on WHFR.FM.
It's another Acoustic Alternatives. We are in Grove Studios in Ypsilanti, home of the podcast since the fall of 2020. Just celebrated the 5-year anniversary with my guest from Detroit, Cora Feeder, who was here on the day, actually, strangely, of the anniversary of the recording of the first podcast with Chris DuPont. And today I welcome a guest I am a longtime fan of, the USA's David Wilcox, not to be confused with the Canadian blues artist of the same name. He released his first album in 1987, coming up on the 40th anniversary of that one, actually. I wasn't on board yet then, sadly, but A&M Records got on board on the next record, How Did You Find Me Here?, which included some of his most popular and some of my favorite songs in his lengthy career, Eye of the Hurricane and Rusty Old American Dream. This expanded his reach into more ears, including mine. A big welcome to David Wilcox. Hello,
Hi,
David.
thanks for talking to me. This is fun.
It's great to see you again. It was 20 years ago that I had my first interview with you on a show also called Acoustic Alternatives, which at the time was at WHFR in Dearborn. We had done a phone interview prior to that, but you were in the studio promoting a new record at the time, and you were playing the Ark the next day or something like that. But I've had the pleasure of visiting with you many times, and it's just always fun to chat with you about music.
Thanks.
And how did I find you here? Indeed, well, a lot of artists, I can kind of remember the first moment I heard their music. And to me, it's been so long, it's hard to remember, but I'm pretty sure it was the KCRW collection that they included Chet Baker's Unsung Song on. That was my ooh, who is this? And what is this? So it was a moment that I became a fan. And with you, it just seems like you've been part of my musical landscape for forever. The kind of music that you play and the kind of music that I've played on the radio for the last 20x number of years, whatever it's been, you're largely tied with that sound. So the new album is called The Way I Tell the Story, and I will dig into that story. But yesterday at the Trinity House Theater, you did something that's a really nice lead into your life.
Yeah.
What is this song called? What's the story?
It's about where I'm from. And, I'm from nowhere. If only I was from Texas, I'd dress in a western shirt. I could wear those boots and feel my roots kicking the down-home dirt. I could tip my hat and say, yes, ma'am, when the barbecue's red hot. If only I was from Texas, I wish I was, but I'm not, 'cause I'm from nowhere. You see, John, in the beat-up buckle of the Rust Belt, where the fields of soybeans grow, I made a vow and I'm grateful now to be free from Ohio. It's a marvelous thing to be from there, 'cause no matter where you may roam, you're bound to feel you found better, and you never have to go back home. I'm from nowhere, the Midwest. Each place you go there, like all the rest. No air of mystery rolls off my tongue. No sense of history from where I'm from. No sense of history from where I'm from. I wonder why. Well, General Moses Cleveland surveyed the Western Reserve. The Treaty of Greenville granted the Indians rights they rightly deserve. You could call the white folks settlers, but that was a school book lie. What they did was unsettling sovereign peoples and tribes. Straight street houses, flat green lawns. Once this was forest, but now that's gone. No sense of history, 'cause all we learned in school 'cause we all had a happy Thanksgiving, and nobody ever was cruel. Well, this land must have had stories nobody here can recall. We dug up all of the native graves to build the Great Lakes Mall. We like to think this is nowhere, a suburb so serene. No murdered women and children, no blood on the battle scene. I'm from nowhere, fly over land. Newscaster plain speak, boring and bland. No air of mystery rolls off my tongue. I'm from nowhere, what have we done? No sense of history from where I'm from. I'm from nowhere, what have we done?
My guest today on Acoustic Alternatives, the podcast, is David Wilcox, a brand new song, as of yet unreleased. Does it have a title?
I think it's called I'm From Nowhere.
This is not the first time in our time together you've done songs that aren't out yet, that don't necessarily have titles.
This is this isn't a matter of yet. This song would never be on a record. I mean,
it's just a single or a video or something.
It's just sort of like it's like better out than in sort of a thing.
Oh, I don't know.
There are songs that are sort of like in the way of good songs, and they're sort of clogging up the loading dock. And you can't get to the good songs unless you say, okay, I'll write this one. It's sort of in the way.
Well, what is the name of the town that you grew up in? It's not actually mentioned.
It's Mentor, Ohio.
I don't know that I've heard of that. So it's east of Cleveland?
East of Cleveland, yeah.
I learned that yesterday at the show. Yeah. All right. What was it like growing up in Mentor? Kind of quiet?
Well, it was a lovely place to be from because I had this burning desire to find someplace that felt like home. And I did a long bicycle trip with my friend Art, the whole length of the Blue Ridge Parkway.
Wow.
And we were talking to other travelers and saying, where can we find musicians? Because we were traveling light, no guitars. Art didn't have his mandolin. So they said, well, there's this little hippie school. It's Swannanoa. Just get off at Route 70 and go east. You'll see the signs. And we did, and we both wound up going to that college, and Art wound up working at that college, and it was a lovely, lovely thing. It was a great find.
And as a child, did you know that guitar and singing was going to be something that you would do for a career?
Not at all.
No?
I didn't play guitar till I was 18.
Wow.
And I didn't sing till I was 20. I was pretty sure I couldn't sing, and so that made it correct that I couldn't, because if you think you can't, man, you can't.
I've recorded myself singing, and I'm pretty sure no one wants to hear it, so I'm pretty sure not everyone can sing. Everyone can sing, but not well. How's that for?
Well, I couldn't sing well at all because my voice was all buried in my insecurity, and I was doing this affectation of some other, I was trying to be some recording artist that sounded like a real musician, so I couldn't sound like me. And then I got tricked by this lovely woman I was running in the woods, and we were running together, and we stopped looking at this waterfall, and she did this kind of a parody of an opera singer, right? She did this kind of, the glory of nature and all that. So she did this grandiose note soaring up to the heavens, and she kind of elbowed me like, you do it too. Because all the while I'd been asking her to sing, because I could play the Joni Mitchell songs, but I would never sing, so she could sing. So she elbowed me, like, do the thing, do the opera parody. And I did. Oh, and she kind of thought, uh-oh. And I said, what? She said, you can sing. I just heard you make a note. I said, no, that was... She said, you're going to have to sing for me. Come on. And I did. And she said, don't sing like Jackson Browne. Don't sing like James Taylor. Just sing like you. I said, I don't know what that sounds like. And we worked on it for a while. And every once in a while, I would stumble across a note that sounded like, I don't know, nobody else. And she said, well, that must be you. And so that was a really wonderful time to find my voice.
The music you were listening to is probably some of the people you just named, right?
Yeah,
The
sure.
songwriters of the 70s that were
Yeah.
that great sound that emerged at that time.
Yeah.
You mentioned a singer yesterday as well that became a mentor of sorts.
Bob Franke.
Yeah. How did you come to find his music?
Let's see. Somebody's living room. They played me a song. They played Hard Love, and I think it was the Tony Rice version. And Tony Rice just sang the hell out of that Bob Franke song. And so I came to Bob Franke knowing that he wrote fearlessly, probably because he sang a little awkwardly. He enunciated just way too much because he worked so hard on those words. He wanted everyone to hear them. And I don't know, it had a little... It didn't sort of flow as much as when Tony Rice sang it. And so I started listening to all his songs and learned a lot of them. And it was really cool to find someone who had that kind of patience to make the song so thoroughly written that really anyone could sing it and the song would speak for itself. And so it gave me the courage to sing because it wasn't the sound of my voice that was worth listening to, in my opinion. It was, well, this song has ideas that will change your life. And so it's worth hearing. And you know, don't blame the messenger, just listen to the message kind of thing, you know?
Well,
it was good.
Good influence. It's lasted a pretty good career for you so far with just kind of borrowing what you learned from him.
Yeah.
Prior to playing the guitar as a kid, what was your hobby like?
Motorcycles. It was all motorcycles all the time.
Oh, wow.
Ever since, I don't know. I think I bought this ridiculous mini bike, you know, trading and working, mowing lawns and all that. But then I bought a scooter, and then I bought somebody's little... It was just... Eventually I bought a Penton, which was an Ohio guy, Jack Penton. He made this really cool motocross bike that, you know, had many neutrals. There was a neutral between every gear. So you'd come flying off a jump thinking you were in fourth gear, and nope, you were between fourth and fifth, and you landed with no power and just about went over the handlebars.
Oh.
It was a great adventure.
Still ride your motorcycle?
I love motorcycles. I have a lot of them.
Cool.
Yeah.
As many as you have guitars, maybe.
Not as many as guitars. There's a ridiculous number of guitars.
Guitars can help make you money. Motorcycles can just, I don't know. Let's not think
They're
about
blissful.
the scenario.
They're-
Well, sure.
And I live really close to the Blue Ridge Parkway now. It's still sacred ground to me. So it's a very limited access road, relatively safe, except for the deer running out in front of you. You have to watch out for that.
Yeah, I almost got hit by one on the way home from your show last night.
Really?
Yes.
Wow. Well, they're being chased out of the woods because they know the hunters are getting ready.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
My memories of childhood, I don't have a heck of a lot of interactions with my father in there, but he used to take me on his Goldwing motorcycle and hang out in the back. Was yours the kind that you could take Nathan on?
Yes. Yeah. Mine was the Pacific Coast. I have 4 of them, and they're quirky, and I like them.
Very nice. Well, you released your first album, as I mentioned, in '87. That was independently released before it was picked up later for redistribution, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where did you record that one, and how did you decide you wanted to be a recording artist?
I recorded it in Asheville. There was this lovely character, Jerry Reed Smith, who had made records of his own, and heard me at the little venue where I played, McDibbs, and he just said, you know, you need to make a record. I'm going to help you. And I said, okay. And it was lovely. We got it done in a week or so, recorded it, and he said, you know, it needs one more song. It needs one more song. And I would write a song. I'd bring it to him. He said, that's good. It's not it. I kept writing. Eventually I wrote Sunshine on the Land, and he said, yes, that's the one. Thank you. And then the record was done. It was great.
How did you get the attention of the label that brought us the Carpenters and the Police and Bryan Adams and A&M Records, Herb Alpert? I mean, how did they find you?
They came when I was playing a gig at the Bluebird Cafe in Nashville, Tennessee. Mm-hmm. And the A&R guy liked my stuff, and I had just come from the Kerrville Folk Festival. I was really full of myself and singing proud, and he liked it. He said, I want to give you a record deal. I was all starstruck, you know. I was, oh, my God, a record deal. He said, let me explain something to you. A record deal is like, imagine there's a big top circus, and imagine there's a big tall ladder, and there's a diving board, and under the diving board, way down there, there's a barrel, and it's full of water. Now, if you jump from that and you don't land in the barrel, there's a whole line of guys behind you.
Wow, deep. And
yeah.
Well,
so he said, you know, this is a lot of people, this ruins their life, and a lot of people, this makes their life. So you decide, you know, be careful. And he was a really good guy. So it was rare to find someone who was, you know, like warning me about the dangers. And it was a beautiful ride. I made 3 great records with A&M, and they never expected me to make money for them, although I did, kind of. And then, of course, that was the moment when all the labels were being bought.
Yeah.
And the labels were being bought by companies that made alcohol. And so years later, I was asking one of my favorite radio programmers about, like, so what do you think is the thing that makes people, you know, an A&R person make a record, or what makes a radio programmer, you know, put a record on? He says, well, the labels are owned by alcohol. The biggest advertisers are alcohol. If your music sells alcohol, you're on the radio. And he said, David, your music doesn't sell alcohol on purpose. Your music is about healing and not just numbing the pain. Yeah. So that was an interesting lesson, and I'm very happy the way it all turned out.
Well, without A&M, you probably weren't brought to the attention of folks like myself.
Yeah.
Still a supporter 40 years later.
Yeah.
Nearly 40 years later.
Cool.
I mean, you've been at a few other labels, What Are and Vanguard, but you're back to being independent again, so you're kind of in control.
It's lovely.
Yeah, good thing. How much of this newly independent thing that you're doing again is hands-on, or do you farm a lot of it out?
I love to delegate. I have kind and competent people doing all the good stuff.
That's a good way to go.
Yeah.
Well, the new record, as I mentioned, is called The Way I Tell the Story. Some of the cameras can see that if I hold it up close enough. It's my favorite of your records in a long time. This is a really damn good record.
I do like it.
Do you
know, I listen to a lot of singer-songwriter stuff, and every once in a while somebody will come out with a record, and I'll think, wow, that's a great record. They must have been through some shit.
Yeah.
And then as I was listening to this record on the final mix, I realized, oh, yeah, it's my turn.
I was. part of that might have, I didn't notice any pandemic songs in here. I don't think so. We're past that.
But yeah, tough issues and really interesting songs. Yeah.
How about a song now?
Yeah. Can I play newer than the record?
Oh.
You know, it's my tradition.
Of course. But we will play some songs from the record. We're here to talk about it.
Great.
You tell me what we're playing.
This is a song about Lady Liberty. Miss Liberty got handcuffed for dreaming the American dream. She used to welcome all the tempest tossed, but her views were too extreme. She took a stand for the family of all men. She held a torch up beside the sea. She had hope in her deepest heart then, that her people could all be free. She's a victim of high crimes, the assault on this great land. She's been hit with hard times. Who will help liberty stand? The Declaration of Independence gets quoted on the 4th of July. The truth our founders found self-evident, these liars now deny. Miss Liberty's held in custody. There's a gap in our spacious sky. 'cause she's face down on the pavement as these congressmen walk by. She's having trouble breathing. Can't you hear her cry? She's a victim of high crimes, the assault on this great land. She's been hit with hard times. Who will help liberty stand? When the men from ICE detained her, we could not see their face. They pulled her from her pedestal and dragged her from that place. She's a victim of high crimes, the assault on this great land. She's been hit with hard times. Who will help liberty stand? Who will help liberty stand?
David Wilcox is my guest on Acoustic Alternatives. We are at Grove Studios in Ypsilanti, grovestudios.space. If you want to see the other spaces that you can rent in this facility, there are 5 rooms and different sizes. This is the biggest one. David, if you ever come through with a band for a show, which I don't think you've done in quite some time, you could rent this space anytime, 24/7. You want to be here at 2 in the morning, you could be. That's a strange time, but all the spaces are available to rent for either a practice of the music kind, podcast recording like myself. There's got a room just a couple doors away where DJs can practice their mixing skills outside of the apartment they probably live in and blast it really loud so they know what it sounds like in a club. You can do that here. So it's a really cool space. I've been coming here for 5 years and doing the podcast, grovestudios.space. So grateful to them for allowing me to have a space to do that. That song is going to be called Miss Liberty, I'm guessing, perhaps?
I think so, yeah.
Still pretty
or maybe
new. And
Help
just
Liberty Stand.
one of those two.
Yeah.
It's all good.
Yeah.
If I may, I'm going to recant some of my favorite moments of time with you.
Sure.
One of them was when you were kind of warming up, you did a little guitar riff. And our first meeting, I asked you just spontaneously to create an ID for my show, which was called Acoustic Alternatives as well. And you created something on the spot that I used every week for like 10 years. So to me, that is just part of like what I've been doing for so long.
Yeah.
Then at my other station in Ann Arbor, you'd been there a couple times visiting me as well. I'm like, oh, I need an ID for my show. And you spontaneously did something that I may have mentioned at the time was extremely coincidental. You did Mr. Bomarito, Mr. John Bomarito, borrowing from the Monkees, which was also borrowed in a rap song in the 90s called Mr. Dabalina. When I worked in a record store when that song was a hit, one of my coworkers used to walk around singing Mr. Bomarito, just like you did it. Like, there's no way John Nank and David Wilcox know each other, but they both did the same thing. It was just, It's just one of these really weird moments in my life. Yeah. And I have a favorite moment of seeing you in concert. Actually, maybe you told us during an interview, but I feel like it was a concert. And is that the graphite guitar that you've toured with for years?
This is one of 6.
You used to tell a story about the people that would go to the factory and to get jobs, and they would show them. They go send them out into the dumpster and try to break the pieces. And I always remember that story when I think about the guitar. You told that story and just made me laugh.
And these beautiful Rain Song guitars are no longer made.
Uh-oh.
But you can still get them on eBay.
What happened? The company didn't
They just decided they were done. Yeah.
That's a pretty good way to tour, not worrying about it getting cracked by anybody.
Very nice, yeah.
Well, there's a few of my favorite moments of just time with you and having you be part of my life for all these years. So, unfinished songs. Do you have many of those?
Lots. I have more unfinished songs than finished songs.
How do you decide which ones get finished?
I keep working on them, and sometimes the song doesn't know what it's for. I think a good song, if it moves you in a direction, and you have to decide, is that the direction you're going? You know, sort of like if you're hitchhiking and somebody says, I'm going to such and such. If that's the wrong way, you don't get in. So there are songs that I think, it's a good song, but I'm not sure that, it's sort of like the song is good at what it does, but I'm not sure that what it does is good. And there are some songs that are just kind of maybe cathartic, and that's good for once or twice. You sing them, and then you feel what you need to feel. But, it's not a song I want to live into. And so it just kind of fades away.
Do you have people you run those by and say, is this one a keeper or not?
Oh, yeah, lots. There are, a good bunch of people who get first listen. And that's also part of the fun of being in this songwriter group. There's a private Facebook group of 12 of us from all over the country, interesting writers. And, I'll post something. I'll say, what do you think? And it's really fun to get good, honest, competent advice.
It's peer feedback. That's great.
It's really good.
I'm not going to do this, but last night somebody asked for a song you hadn't played in for a long time. And what if, without the use of your phone, how many of your songs do you think you could do without looking at them? Because you've got a lot of songs.
I would guess maybe a third, maybe less. Yeah, maybe 100 songs.
That's, to me, that would be the hardest part about being a performer, is to remember everything.
Yeah, but
I know a lot of songs.
If you bring up the lyric on the phone, you can get through it, and that brings it up to about 200, 300. And there are some that are a quick study, like, I don't even know what tuning this song was in. What was those guitar chords? But if I listen to it, it all comes back. Oh, yeah, that. And here's a really interesting tidbit. When there's a bunch of new songs and they're all different tempos, one of the things that's harder for me to remember is, like, what's the tempo of this song? Like, what's the vibe? What's the groove of it, And so what I will do is I will have a little prompt written above the lyric of the song that just compares the tempo of this song to a really well-known song that I could definitely remember. And so, like, there'll be at the beginning of the song, like, take a load off Annie. And then I'll go, oh, yeah, it's got to have the And so it's so fun to have that little sort of groove prompt at the top. That makes remembering it so much easier. It's pretty fun.
If this was 30 years ago, you wouldn't have this technology.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Fewer songs, but...
Yeah, and, my God, finding the good Thai restaurant when you're traveling, man, it's really a great thing.
I couldn't see the stage last night. Today I can see your phone. And I'm surprised that the lyrics move up without you touching them. That is a pretty cool feature.
Well, I was watching these classical players, and they have the iPad in front of them, and they have this little Bluetooth page turner.
Is that what that is?
Yeah, that's what that is. And so I thought, I can do that. But instead of having the big iPad, I just use my phone.
Smart.
And I set it on the mic stand, so if I need to glance at the lyric, there it is. And, I could feel bad about that, but, if you look at those videos of, like, even Bruce Springsteen, one of those monitors in front of him, it's not a monitor. It's a video.
Teleprompter.
It's got the lyrics.
I know Michael Stipe from R.E.M. definitely used one. He didn't know the words to most of his songs.
Because there's a lot of stuff to think about, know, and you might go into a long story between verse 2 and 3, and then you come around to the end of the story and you think, now, where was I?
What was I saying? Getting older. And there's that contagious laugh I love.
Yeah.
Well, if I'm doing my counting right, The Way I Tell the Story is your 18th studio album. There's been a couple live albums in there.
And a couple sort of digital-only releases.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a few of those. You've enlisted the help of some vocalists all along the way. Mary Chapin Carpenter, Ashley Cleveland, Jennifer Kimball, Jonathan Brooke, Nance Pettit, surprise, Alison Krauss, Jars of Clay, Peter Mayer, who you actually covered Holy Now on our first session together, one of his songs. Yeah. Introduced me to him. Alice Paul's on the new record, and newcomer Sam Robbins, who I hear in the first track. Alice has not been a guest here, but Sam has been, not too terribly long ago. It's nice to hear you working with the voice of these younger, and I'm sure, because I've been watching videos of him, and I'm on his Patreon page. He's definitely, a student of yours in a way, like you were a student of your mentors. Yeah. Are you seeking these people out to work with, or are they finding you?
They find me, yeah. Sam came up after a gig. I was playing in Maine, and I love when people start a conversation in the middle. They're not like, hi, my name's Sam. They start with a really in-depth question that lets me know that they know a lot about what I'm doing. And that's kind of a beautiful welcome, because we know that we can just get right to the heart of it. And so he, said, "Can I give you some music?" And I listened, and it was good. And he's, one of these really competent, he knows all the really groovy chords. And so I like writing with him. He can take a song in a different direction that challenges me. And I have more experience with mapping out the story, the arc of this song, and knowing what it's supposed to feel like. And he has more experience with, yeah, well, you always play that chord. How about this chord? And I go, what is that?
He's a great guy.
It's lovely.
I can remember the song from him that turned me on to a fan. It was the Hard to Hate song, if you've heard that one. Hard to Hate, someone who's right in front of you.
Yeah.
That one was like a aha moment when I heard it live.
Yeah.
And just turned me into a fan. And he wrote about working with you in one of his recent posts and called you meticulous in your working style, revising, revisiting. He called it amazing to witness. Have you always kind of worked that way?
The fun part for me is the rewriting. Yeah. I'd rather be in the middle of working on a song than have one finished, because the process of working on it, as long as I'm working on the song, it's working on me. It's changing how I think and how I feel about something. And that's kind of why I write. I read that same kind of thing when Barbara Kingsolver was asked about why she writes novels. And she said it's a way of delving when there's a question that I can't figure, like, where do I stand on a certain idea? She thinks, maybe the way to understand that is to spend some time in that place of, I wonder what this feels like. I wonder where this is going. And as the book gradually unfolds, her clarity about sort of where she stands on an idea comes clear. And I love that. I love to have that as a goal in songwriting means there's no gatekeeper. This is like therapy. And it's not the songs you're after. It's the life. It's a life that's vibrant and full and interesting and just more alive.
I love it. On your last trip to Michigan, you toured a bit with another two-time guest, actually, on the podcast. The first time he came in, he was Kyle Rashi of Chain of Lakes. And the next time he came in, he was Kyle Joe. Same guy. Yeah. And you wrote a song with him as well. That didn't end up on the record. Is that perhaps a future album song, or is that one of those that it's just out there?
That's a live song. That's a quirky little song about finding the dignity in this humbling craft of being a singer-songwriter. I could play that one if you like. Or I could play the title track of The Way I Tell the Story.
We should go for the title track.
We're
here to tell people about this new record, The Way I Tell the Story. David Wilcox is my guest on Acoustic Alternatives at Grove Studios.
See, if you look at the top of this lyric right here, it says, rhythm, take a load for free. I was the lone survivor when we landed in the field. The full investigation never was revealed. The hurt got covered over, never really healed. The scars are on the inside, the evidence was sealed. But the way I tell the story, I just brushed off the dirt. I landed in a haystack, barely tore my shirt, because what good would it do me to just replay the past? Accidents will happen, this one happened fast, so I'll look to where I'm going instead of where I've been. I won't deny my history, but I'll give it quite a spin. So the way I tell the story, I just brushed off the dirt. I landed in a haystack, barely tore my shirt. If I'm the only witness, then the story's up to me. If no one else has lived to tell, no one can disagree. Crawling from the wreckage, my childhood up in flames, swirling down the spiral of alcohol and shame. But the way I tell the story, I just brushed off the dirt. I landed in a haystack, barely tore my shirt. Since I'm the only witness, well, I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll make a hero's journey of the shit that I've been through. I saw the blaze, turned around and ran before it blew. You can't say I crashed and burned, but I can say I flew. I flew. I flew.
Title track from David Wilcox's new record, The Way I Tell the Story, on Acoustic Alternatives here at Grove Studios, and another fine piece of work from this record. What was the best part about putting this record together? What was your favorite memory of it?
Wow, I think hearing the beautiful tracks from all these great players. There's so many fantastic musicians on this record, and
name names.
I'm so grateful that you can send a little MP3 across the country or even across an ocean and say, hey man, can you just do your thing on this and send me back the WAV file? And they send 5 or 6 different choices, and then you set it all up in Pro Tools, and it's just magic. I just love it. And that's the part for me that's so fun about the people that I've known all this time, that they know sort of what it's supposed to feel like. They know how to complement what I'm doing, and they listen so well. It's just a joy. I love it.
Good stuff, for sure.
Yeah.
Backing up to my previous statement, other artists that you've written songs with, but not on this record, my friends from the Accidentals, who've also been in this very room. My first one in this room actually was them, and the Nashville people that they are now from Traverse City, where where we have some other mutual friends there. How did they find you? How did you find them?
We were both at a festival in Oregon and just started playing music, and I really love writing with them. They're great folks.
Sav and Katie are really sweet. Just wonderful, wonderful people.
Yeah.
Well, what is inspiring you to write these days? Obviously, the one you did was political in nature. The other one is about your hometown. I
think the stuff that's most inspiring is when I have conversations with friends and we're talking about something that's right at the edge of their challenge, right at what they're trying to figure out, how to, live according to what they believe. Those are the real juicy moments. And so many times it's writing for clarity for myself or writing as a gift to someone else, a close friend. And I imagine just them hearing it. And I imagine playing it for them and them kind of knowing that every part of it is true for them. And that's what led me to doing these custom songs too, where it's not just close friends, but I've done 70 or so custom songs, which will never be recorded, but they're fantastic songs to write because someone comes to you knowing what they want the song to do. They want it to work like therapy, or they want it to work like accountability for something they've decided they're going to do in their life. And so it's such a fun thing to put my skills in service to other people's stories and other people's hearts. And because if someone comes, ready to put up some hard-earned cash for a custom song, they know. My first question when we're doing an interview for a custom song is I'll say, let's imagine the song is done. My question is, who's hearing it and what are they feeling? Why is it important for them to feel that? Why is it important to you for them to feel that? And if they know that, wow, the song writes itself. It's the heart of it. Then it's just like a word puzzle.
You did one of them yesterday in concert, which surprised me too. But that was really cool. Those are great.
I love them.
Kind of reminded me that through your career you've written from different perspectives. You've written you've written that you're an automobile. You've written about the three brothers, and it's really about and you've written personal stories. I imagine perhaps knowing a little bit more about your life history that Covert War might have been from your personal perspective of your parents.
Yeah.
So which is the most comfortable place to write from? Being an object, being yourself, or being an objective observer of something else?
Wow. Now, comfortable, that's an interesting thing. I think the most comfortable is writing custom songs for other people.
Really?
But I think pleasurable is different than comfortable. My favorite songs are the ones that change me, the ones that really sometimes are a harrowing experience, that dig up some presuppositions that are false and challenge me to change. So those are more fun, but it's kind of it's fun in the way people talk about running a marathon is fun.
It hurts, but
yes,
I'll do it anyway.
Yeah.
Do you know when you've written like a really spectacular lyric that's going to jump out of the song? Because I've got a few from the new album that jumped out at me as just single lines. Do you know when you've written one of those?
I don't have that certainty when it happens. That's usually when I'm playing it for someone else and I feel their reaction. That happened with that Liberty Stand song. It was really surprising to me that, when I play that in a night of music, that's the one where really it gets the crowd. People stand up. It happens over and over. And I think, really? And I think the succinctness of that and the fact that it has that sort of one remove away talking about the Statue of Liberty. Yeah. But what are the lines that you found?
You actually just sang one of them. You could say I crashed and burned, but I can say I flew from the way I tell the story that jumped out at me. You sang it differently yesterday, but on Roses, that's the piece worth fighting for. You changed it yesterday.
Yeah, waiting, fighting. Sometimes it's waiting. It depends what I'm feeling.
On the record, it's fighting, and it just felt like, ooh, that's a good twist of thoughts, like piece worth fighting for. I like that a lot. We're not talking about a piece of turkey on Thanksgiving either. The center of the compass does not know the needle spins.
I'm so glad you like that, because that's one of my favorites, and I think that goes over some heads.
Yeah, I really like
deep. It. And, for me, when I sing it, I'm feeling the Still Point, the Jonathan Brooks song. Yeah. So, yeah.
Great song.
Yeah.
Do you have a favorite yourself on the album besides that one?
Nah. I think my favorite song changes night by night because it depends which one. The best song is the right song at the right time for the right person. And so, like, if somebody says, hey, can you play me a song? I'll say, so how are you today? How's it being you? What's the thing that's sort of not settled? Or what's the thing that's sort of front and center in your heart? And then I'll know, you probably need this song. Yeah.
It's very intuitive and very, very kind of you to listen to people that way.
Yeah.
I'm also excited that you are still putting out physical media. Like, I'm a fan of the CD. I know people are into the vinyl. I love vinyl, but if I had my collection on vinyl, my floors would cave in. So I'm glad I have CDs because they weigh a lot, but a lot less.
Yeah.
Do you think you'll continue to embrace this, what people are calling dying media, or do you think you'll abandon it as you go along?
I have no idea.
You just have to watch the industry.
The wild part is, now that I have a new CD out, making another record is sort of the last thing on my mind. I'm just writing songs because I love writing songs. And the weird part is, it's always the last thing on my mind until suddenly one morning it's the only thing on my mind, and I just have to make a record.
It's just a moment that hits you. You know it has to come.
Yeah, and I think it's a way of sort of understanding what that year has been about. What are the issues that have troubled me? Where do I get my hope? What stirs my joy? And it's so fun to compile that and curate sort of what this time has meant to me each time I make a record.
I'm glad you're still doing it as a music fan. People that just release singles, to me, that is somewhat useless. It's great, but then if you don't collect them on something that I can either like put together as an album, I always think of things as albums.
Yeah.
And a single is nice, and maybe it can be a standout cut, but if it just lives on its own, I'm probably going to forget it exists.
Wow.
That's just the way I am. I mean, part of it's also being years in radio where I've dealt with pulling CDs off the shelf. And in radio now, a lot of music is sent to us digitally. Yeah. We don't see those files. Yeah. When you're trying to curate a show with thousands and thousands of choices, what can I see?
Right. Yeah.
So to me, this is still a smart move, especially for
cool.
You're not going commercial radio likely. It's more the independent stations and non-commercial NPR, whatever. Yeah. That's where your music really thrives. Yeah. You want to do another one from the new record? What are you feeling?
Yeah, this is one of my faves. This is a song called "The Beautiful," and it's a song about making sure you tend to your emotional buoyancy so you don't sink in the sea of sorrow. I'm looking at the paintings in this great museum. The news of one more shooting made me long to cry. I'd love to work for justice and for peace and freedom, but right now I need a refuge that is quiet and dry. So I come to see the beauty when the world is tragic. An umbrella stops the rain, but it won't dry the sky. And this play of light and shadow is transcendent magic, and it's changing the whole universe, at least inside. In the ocean deep, when these waves are steep, every hope I keep betrays me. It's the beautiful that saves me. Now I'm walking past these priceless works of famous artists, but in between their canvases, it's cold white walls. These painters found a crucible for their catharsis, but they knew that no rendition could contain it all. I am fearful of the riptide in the sea of sorrow, and I don't have enough faith to make these waters part. And if I venture out there, I would drown a martyr, and it feels so overwhelming I can barely start. In the ocean deep, when these waves are steep, every hope I keep betrays me. It's the beautiful that saves me. Now the woman at the coat check hands me back my raincoat. Stay warm out there, she smiles and looks me in the eye. I take her simple kindness like we're in the same boat, and we all need some protection from the storm outside. We are underneath the cloud of all this dark emotion, but we'll make it through the storm because we've warmed our hearts. A wooden hull can rest above a deep, dark ocean, and a window into beauty is a place to start. In the ocean deep, when these waves are steep, every hope I keep betrays me. It's the beautiful that saves me. It's the beautiful.
It is, in fact, beautiful. David Wilcox, a track you can find on The Way I Tell the Story, the new release, just out a couple months ago. And David in the studio here at Grove Studios, grovestudios.space. If you feel like you need a place to get out of the garage and get into the studio, that's what this place is for. You can make as much noise as you want. You won't disturb the people living in the apartments over there or the tow truck company over there. Sometimes you might hear a train behind us.
I like the sound of the train.
And every now and then it happens during a session. And so far, no one's been playing a train song while a train has gone through, but it's going to happen.
I used to always love to switch to a train song when the train went by. And my favorite venue growing up, that McDibb's venue I referred to, because there were train tracks right down the hill. And I would go into Railroad Bill or some such thing, It was great.
In previous chats, we've talked about the music that your son might have put into your ears. He's an adult at this point. Does he like your music? Does he say?
He does, yeah. And he's the best person to play a new song for. He can get clarity immediately about, the ways that the song could be misunderstood. He's really good with giving me that sort of, you got to watch out for this because somebody could think it means this. He's really good.
Is he musical? Does he play?
Oh, yeah. He's got way more talent than I do.
Cut it out.
But he's also way smarter, so he's doing more sensible things.
I also chose a music industry career, and I can attest, not necessarily the best choice.
Have you heard the sort of theme song of the music industry?
I have
I
not.
can sing it for you. It's very short.
Oh, yeah.
There's no business. Yeah.
David. Well, how's Asheville doing, by the way? I know that there was a serious...
It is coming back. It's been just over a year since the hurricane.
Yeah.
And there are some parts of town that will never be the same. And there are some parts of town that are built back and are going strong. And, it's lovely. And I think it's going to be good for the town overall. If the town is really smart about it, they will make some beautiful parkland that could not have so much destruction when the river rises again.
Hey, great idea.
Yeah.
Maybe you should be on the city council or something.
There are some good people on the city council, and they're working hard to see if we can be smarter this time.
Well, like I said earlier about Mandolin and Chris Thiele going together, Asheville and you, in my head, actually go together for some reason. I guess because you've lived there most of the time that I've known you. So I'm glad to hear it's coming back. I'm really glad that you made time for me today, David. Thank you. Thank you for playing these songs and
You're
telling
so
your
good.
stories.
I love that you love music so much. You know all these songs. You know more of my songs than I do, I'm sure.
I don't know all the words, though. That's the problem. I know so many songs that I could never sing an entire song from beginning to end without going, I don't know. What's the next one?
But you know the best parts.
Well, I have my role. My role is to let people know what I think is good music to listen to. And if people respect my opinion, then hopefully I'm doing my job and turning people on to new music. So
the musical bodhisattva.
Somebody's got to be him.
Yeah.
Or them. Grove Studios, we thank them as well, because without them, there is no podcast. There is no place to do this. There's no inspiration for me to continue interviewing some of my favorite artists and exposing you to new ones. And we have got another one coming up shortly. Jen Siggett from the Michigan music scene will be my next guest after David Wilcox. And then for the first time, I'm going to have a jazz artist on, because now that I work for a jazz station, I'm making relationships with those. Can't wait to introduce you to Olivia Van Gore. She's so awesome. Thanks to Grove Studios. And David, thank you.
My pleasure. I'm David Wilcox, and this is the Acoustic Brunch with John Bomarito on Ann Arbor's 107.1. Mr. Bomarito, Mr. John Bomarito, Mr. Bomarito, Mr. John Bomarito, Mr. Bomarito, Mr. John Bomarito.